It's like, I don't even remember watching anything.
Yeah. It's like, watch it. I can't.
Yeah.
Because the quality is terrible and I can't hear what's going on.
Yeah.
Howdy, Meowers, and welcome back to another BlushCat episode.
Hello, everybody.
I'm Untone.
Welcome, Untone. Untone?
Untone.
Welcome, Untone, and welcome, listeners. Today, we've got a lot to cover, like we have had lately.
Right. This is probably going to get pretty long because we are covering the 2023 and 2024 beginning of the year and like end of year festivals and award show Kpop performances.
Yeah, basically, it's music festival time. Woo, woo, woo. So we've got many different shows we're going to be talking about today, and we're not going to be covering every performance, every song, because that would be way too much, and we don't have stuff to say about a lot of them. So we're just going to be talking about the performances that were relevant or that stood out to us, that are groups that we follow, things like that.
Right. And we're only focusing on the performance aspect of it. We're not talking about the awards, and it's not going to be a serious judge or review of any of these performances. We're just going to share our opinions on them.
Yeah, just our thoughts and feelings, never anything too serious.
Right.
So, where are we going to be starting today?
We're going to be starting with the Mama Awards, which is something that we already talked about, but we're going to just run through it quickly again.
Okay,
so I guess I'll just say my favorite performances from the Mama.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, I liked Just B's, Zero Base 1s, and 17s.
Did you want to give any specifics or, insight as to what made those stand out for you?
Sure, I'll do that now. So yeah, Just B, they were like granted the spot to perform at the Mama because of Road to Max, so we had to vote for them, and they went through the different stages and they finally ended with their Mama performance. And so they did Medusa, and I just thought it was really great. I thought they performed with literally everything that they've got, and they were doing tricks and they were giving energy, and I really enjoyed it because also I really just like the song Medusa.
Yeah, I think they did a great job as well. They were like literally leaving it all on the stage, like you said. Back flips, everything. The only thing is I wish that they didn't have to do an abridged version. I wish they could have had the full time to just do their full song rather than have that like intro part that was like a video.
Yeah, so I thought that was really good. I thought ZB1's was good because I like that they did Take My Hand, which we said this before in one of our other episodes when we talked about the Mama, but I still just think it was one of the most memorable performances, and I thought it was pretty cool, and like just the fact that they did a B-side was unexpected, and so it was memorable. And I like how, I like the part with Hanbin, how he, just appeared. I thought that was cool.
My favorite in terms of like ZB1 adjacent stuff was the Zhang Hao violin performance of Here I Am, which we already talked about in another episode, but it's so good, and like I've rewatched it and it's still just as good. Like it's just really good.
Yeah, I agree.
And you said that they did a B-side and that was unexpected. And so then there's also the violin one. And then as we go through these other shows that we're going to be talking about, ZB1 is at like all of those too.
Yeah.
And they do continue to like switch it up and like they're bringing a couple of different things to the table, each time, which is fun.
Yeah. And 17's performance, I just thought basically it was amazing as usual. They're always bringing good energy, and I feel like everyone in that audience was probably having a great time and just experiencing a performance. Like Hoshi had his dance moment, and that was cool. And then I loved when the 8 walked out during Super, and then he did like his dance break. And just, Woozy's part is always pretty iconic and Super, and I just thought that they did a good job.
I actually didn't check this one out. I know, shocker, whoa. But when they don't give us the whole show that we can watch in an easy way, that leads me to pick and choose which performances I watch, and so I didn't end up watching this one just because there wasn't a song this year from 17 that I was super following along with and listening to a lot. So I was like, whatever they perform is probably just going to be like, I know that they will have done a good job, but I wasn't like interested in it.
Okay.
But so yeah, for me it's just B and ZB1's Zhang Hao's violin performance.
Did you have any other performances that you wanted to just say something about?
No, that's all.
Okay, well, please allow me then to just share my thoughts on some of the other things, like Yujin from Zero Base One's sort of contemporary dance that he did. I don't know if you saw that part, but I ended up watching more of the other performances that I didn't originally like check out. And so I like that he keeps doing that dance style. Like he has his leap in Bloom, and it was that same sort of style. Of course, Unchae's whole Barbie iconicness was iconic. Yeah, Zhang Hao violin, really good. And then the last one that, sparked my interest was the Goddess Awakened performance. I went back and watched the whole thing, and I do think it was really good. Like, I thought it was very cool, and I like how they had such a strong theme. And, it's kind of like weird that Just B was doing Medusa, and then they had such a strong Medusa concept for this performance. I'm like, out of all the songs, like, it was just kind of weird, but I thought that it was, really powerful, and it did look like a nice performance.
Yeah, I remember watching that, and there were certain parts that I guess I found captivating, but it was more just would have been the like overall imagery to me rather than like the individual person dancing. It just doesn't like, I don't care about that very much. But yeah, I liked that it had a theme like that, but I too thought like, isn't this kind of weird that it's like kind of like, oh, let's do the theme of the like least famous person here's already doing.
I mean, like Zhao, she did like that snake performance. It was a Girls Planet song, and so it was kind of cool that she was doing it again. And like, I liked to hear Lion again. That's what Minnie was doing. And I think I said before that I really like Le Seraphim's song The Great Mermaid, and so all these like interesting songs that are never like usually at the forefront are being talked about again, or like that were popular but they haven't done in a while. They were brought back, so I thought that was cool. And also the last thing about that performance is when Minnie had her like back to the crowd and was going back to the main stage. I just want to say that I think that the audio sounded so much like, Oblivion or Skyrim music, and so I thought it made that part extra cool.
Okay. Like, I liked to see the styling of it, and I thought in general it was just really interesting that each of those groups, like, they could find that many people with songs that were kind of like in that category. Yeah. That was cool. But also going back to Unchae's thing, I absolutely love the styling for that and stuff, and I feel like I could have liked it so much more, but it just really bothered me how they had like English words up on the back screen of like what she was saying and talking about, but you can't see it at all in the stage performance. Like they cut it all off. So I'm like, she's clearly, this is like a piece where she's like, saying a message about like what she feels, and like I don't see it. Like you just didn't put it in the frame. It just seemed weird to me, so that bothered me, but I love the styling.
Okay, well, I guess that's all for the mamas. Now we're going to be talking about the Melon Music Awards. Okay, well, I guess I'm going to be talking about the Melon Music Awards.
I mean, I might be able to chime in if I remember something, but I honestly, I remember the award part. And I don't remember the performances at all.
Okay, well,
It's crazy.
I'll try to go through it quickly then. My favorite performances were NCT Dreams, Shiny, and ZB1's. And so I liked NCT Dreams because they did really good songs. They did broken melodies. Great. I love to see it. Poison, I wasn't expecting them to do that at all. It's very different of a song and style in general for Dream. And like everyone was a main dancer. It was great. And the Like We Just Met VCR was great as well. I just want to shout that out. Loved it. Loved the vibes. And then they did ISTJ, and that was fun and energetic as usual. Shiny's performance, I was glad that they were showing up at so many of these award shows and festivals.
Yeah.
So they did like a medley of their songs. And, you know, they were doing old ones like Sherlock and Dreamgirl, but then they were doing their newer ones. And ZB1's, I really loved the, like, mix of In Bloom that they used for the beginning part and, like, Eugen's dance. And then the violin mix was really pretty, too. I definitely wasn't expecting the Ricky and Cuban, like, I don't know whether you'd call it a dance break or not, but when they were kind of walking down like the side part of the stage and it was like their moment, wasn't expecting that. So I thought that they were one of the most memorable from that show.
I cannot believe that I can't remember any of that at all. I remember you being surprised that Poison was going to be performed.
Yeah.
But I don't remember any, like, I'm sorry. It's because it's been overwritten by so many other things. Like, I've seen so many ZB1 performances for end of the year. Like, I guess one of them had to get fallen into the void because that's too many.
The other two performances that I'll say something about are aespa's. I just don't know, like, all that I'll say is I don't know why aespa keeps insisting on doing Trick or Trick for their B-side song when they could be doing Hot Air Balloon or YOLO. Just saying, I would love to see performances for those. And then I thought that they had a cool performance like moment, but you couldn't really see what was going on because the colors were blending together. So I wanted to enjoy it, but I couldn't really tell what was happening.
That's gonna be a bit of a theme going through.
Yep.
I wanted to enjoy it, but I couldn't really tell what was happening.
Yeah. Yeah, and just the Melons overall, I think that they usually have like really good and unique performances. Like, I remember BTS's 2018 performance with the masks and Fake Love.
Ooh,
and then
yeah.
Idol. That was a really good one and I still remember it. And then AB6 in 2019, they did a performance that I will be bringing up later when we talk about one of the other performances. So if you don't know that performance, you got to get familiar with it because it's going to be relevant again. And then, like, I think it was maybe 2022 and maybe this show, but maybe it wasn't even this show at all. But I think like Ive and T by T had some good ones. Like, I just know that the Melons usually have ones where people go all out, but I feel like it wasn't to that scale this year. Like, there wasn't really anything that I was like blown away by. But this one like had kind of annoying audio as well, which another big theme.
Yep, definitely.
And they kept including like dance crews in the middle of other groups' performances, and they literally had cheerleaders between Stacy's performance. So there were a lot of different elements with the Melons this year that I don't know if I was vibing with or not.
Sometimes it hits and sometimes it misses. And, you know, honestly, I feel like most of the time the decisions that the show is making, you know, not a group individually, usually the decisions that the show is making are bad, I'd say. Like, usually you're like, why are they doing this?
Yeah. Well, we should now talk about the Asia Artist Awards. Okay, this is the award show that disrespected Daejeon last year, just so everybody knows.
Don't let anyone ever forget it.
I won't. So yeah, they had Daniel, like Kang Daniel, Wonyoung, and Sung Hanbin as MCs, and I think that they usually at this award program have a pretty unique lineup, like performance that you don't usually get to see at festivals or other award shows. Like Pentagon has gone before, WJSN Chokomi has gone before, Kang Daniel performed this year. And so yeah, what were some of the performances that stood out to you?
Honestly, I guess none of them.
Okay.
Well, what stood out to me is watching Kang Daniel's performance and being like, that was interesting that he picked those songs, and just sort of thinking like, I don't know, I was surprised. I'm like, why did he pick these? And then, am I crazy, or was Eunbi at this?
She was.
She was. Did she do Underwater?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, then I remember that one. And then I don't really remember much else from this either. There's too guys, my brain is small. There's too many. But I think I'll remember, like this, I definitely at least remember what the stages looked like. So if you talk about some, maybe I'll remember those ones more. But
okay.
the melons, no, completely forgot about it.
Okay. Well, first of all, I'll just say bad quality as far as like the actual, not the performances, but like the show itself. There were too many far shots, and the place looked pretty empty, honestly. And like the staging was dark and unattractive. The audio was poor.
It was.
And on top of all of that, they had bad YouTube thumbnails.
Ooh,
that made it hard
yeah.
to like differentiate the fan cams from the regular performances. I'm like, I think I'm clicking on the right one, but then I click on it and it's like far away, and I'm like, oh. Yeah.
I do remember a performance though.
Okay.
Now that you talked about it, like you talked about the audience, like, and it made me remember.
Oh, yeah.
Busoksoon,
Right.
definitely was a standout here, and I sort of was having a little bit of like a conspiracy theory moment of like, is it just because I always talk about, you know, oh, the older groups are the ones that really perform like it's a concert. The younger groups tend to perform more like it's a music show. But then I was like, but also, is it just the people that go last that perform like it's a concert? And is it sort of like the rule? Like the staff are like, okay, you know, everyone just kind of keep it normal. But then, oh, you guys, you're going last, so you can really like hype up the crowd. I don't know. But I do remember that they really like pulled out all the stops in terms of energy, and they were like going wild. So that was pretty good.
Yeah, that was definitely one of my favorite performances. I was like, finally, some energy and liveliness. Like the audience was loving it. All the idols were up and dancing. It was just so fun. And I thought it was like, you know, the perfect award show stage finally. I was like, okay, thank you, 17. Thank you, Busoksoon.
Yeah.
Another one, again, that I liked was ZB1. I'm just going to say now, like, I did like most of ZB1's performances that they gave to us, because I thought, like you mentioned, they had different elements to them that I was like, it was making them stand out more than some of the other ones. But I really liked this mix of In Bloom, because it was like very chill and calming, and like it was like an anime, and like I just kind of wish they'd release this remix for real. Like I just thought it was nice. And I think that they did like, you know, a solid job. Not expecting the Jiung Gunuk dance break. Like I think that all of the members at this point have had like a solo dance moment, which is pretty cool. I'm not sure if that's true or not, but
I feel like definitely at least most of them have. Like they've really spread out the like little feature pieces.
Yeah. The boys' performance was good. You couldn't really tell what was happening very well though. Like it wasn't shot very well, but I think that they did a good job and they had good presence. Like Eric was mad.
Oh,
like
yeah.
That's the one where you could really like hear Eric in the back, and Jacob's high note was good.
Yes, the boys were absolutely giving it their all. Like you could tell vocally and everything, but the camera work was such literal trash that like it made me forget about the performance because it's like I don't even remember watching anything.
Yeah. It's like, watch it, I can't.
Yeah.
Because the quality is terrible and I can't hear what's going on.
Yeah. But I do remember, yeah, Eric specifically definitely was like, I will be heard even if they can't let us be shown.
Yeah. They also had some like interesting dance breaks or like dance moments. Like Juliana at the beginning with the tables, like in the audience. That was interesting. Then the other two that I enjoyed that I remember are Itzy's performance. It felt refreshing compared to some of the other performances. And then Eunbi's, like you said, like I was not expecting Underwater, but I am grateful. And I thought she did great. So yeah, those were my favorites from that show. But I'll also just say Kepler was doing a thing like that I thought was interesting, but then it just turned into Giddy, and I don't really like that song. So yeah, sorry. And
the Asia Artist Awards were interesting. Like it was unexpected every time like someone came out and like started. It was like not what you expected.
Yeah. And this was also the award show that you noticed that the person from Boy Next Door looks like Chuji. I think his name is Sungho. So yeah, that's it for the Asia Artist Awards, right?
I guess so, yeah.
Okay, now it's time for the SBS GAYO DAEJEON. Every year, there are usually 3 GAYOs, the KBS, SBS, and MBC. So the SBS GAYO is on Christmas, and then the MBC one, which we'll talk about next, is on New Year's Eve. So this is the Christmas one. They have a theme every year. This year's theme was Switch On, and yeah.
Yes, so maybe it doesn't matter to some people, but to me, it really did matter the relevancy of people's performances and attire. Like, was it Christmas or not? And or were they jumping too far ahead and giving us New Year's when they should be giving us Christmas? Can I just say, though, before we even get into performances specifically, this is probably, and it's no surprise because it's SBS.
Yep.
This is probably the worst audio, definitely the worst audio, but probably the worst camera work as well across all of these.
All of them.
All of these things that we're talking about.
Yeah, definitely.
And this is, it's not an award show. So it's not something that is being filmed as an award show that has performances at it. It is meant to only be performances. It is a big, big stage. It's a big stage, like it's not a music show size stage. It's a concert sized, environment that they're filming. But
Right.
still, so the camera work is bad because especially from all of the really far shots they have with the shaky camera.
Yep. It was kind of scary sometimes.
Very scary. But the audio, I was like rechecking out some performances and the audio is so unbelievably bad. When we first watched it, I was thinking, not very many people are doing anything live. That's kind of disappointing. But I'm kind of convinced now that at least all of the people that like I want to talk about were singing live. You just cannot hear anything.
Yeah.
It's like the microphone audio is from like 3 rooms over. It's so bad.
Yeah, it was very messy audio.
And like one person's performance that I'll talk about specifically, you could actually hear them, like it was louder, but there's tons of like wind and breathing noise as well. So it's like they boosted the audio so that you could actually hear it. It's like one of the last performances of the night, but then it's like, like it's so bad.
Yeah. It truly terrible quality. Horrible. I'm really sorry, but like horrible camera work. They were
for some
missing
of the performances. It's so
like
bad.
There were important moments and just regular parts that literally were not captured at all. Like the camera was, I don't even know where, somewhere like on the ground. Like literally, like I'm not joking.
Like actual mistake type camera work as well.
Yeah.
Like not even just like, oh, I don't know why you would make the shot be focusing on that part right then. No, like actual, like we were looking at like hands of someone in the audience or something.
Yeah,
it was
like,
so bad.
Yeah, so
For
really
multiple
bad
seconds.
quality in many different ways.
Yeah.
But like you said, SBS, we shouldn't be surprised, but it was at least better than this in previous years.
Yeah.
So what were some of your favorite performances or ones that you want to talk about?
Okay, so I liked, like, one of the first ones that I saw that I was thinking, yeah, okay, it was IVE. Once again, the audio, wish it were better, but like I really did like their outfits and their styling for this. I thought it was so pretty, also Christmassy without giving us something over the top Christmassy, and it was different, you know? We hadn't seen really like a tweed and lace combination look from anyone yet. And so I enjoyed visually their performance more than anything else, but also like out of the 3 songs they did, it was all good. The dancing was good. Nothing was too like remixed, you know, nothing was too like pushing really hard to try and change it up and make it something different that ended up making it like, well, I like the original better, you know. It was just I liked their overall mix of Christmassy, pretty styling, everything just delivering the way you would hope that it would.
I agree. I enjoyed Ive's performance as well. I was glad that they did Off the Record. You know, I like that song. I really don't know why they didn't do either way at any of these performances, but I thought it would be good to do for Christmas, like, because it's like a ballad, and it has vibes that I thought would work better than like Baddie. Like to do Off the Record I Am and then go into Baddie for Christmas was kind of weird, but
Baddie was a bit jarring.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Finally, there was some like pretty and detailed styling at this show. I think everybody else had very simple styling. So to see their styling, like, I thought it was really nice. And I did think that their like jingly sort of Christmas remix was tasteful. Like, yeah. I didn't think it was too much.
Yeah, I remember in past years at some of these shows, the remixes are like nonstop. Like every single person has remixed their song, and they almost always would be like taking away from the original song. And you're like, okay, that's cool that you guys did like a rock remix, but like you ruined the song. So
yeah. This year I definitely was not nearly as bothered by the remixes as I have been in past years. Like usually I'm like, why are you even like performing this? Like, imagine going to the show and you're like, oh, I'm gonna hear this group do their song, but it's like remixed so much that you can't even recognize it.
Yeah. Okay, so what is one that you'd like to talk about?
Oh, I'll talk about NCT Dreams.
Okay. They're the ones that had the loud microphones, but tons of like clothing, air rustling noises in it. So in case anyone was wondering.
I was like, okay, finally, we're getting an SOS performance. I'm here and I'm ready. But clearly the camera person wasn't, because the JNO disrespect was unreal. Like they literally missed his entire part. I'm like, what's actually happening? I don't know. But I'm glad that they did SOS. I wanted to see what a performance for that would be like. And it was good. If it was like, you know, they luckily released a dance practice of it. So we have that. And then they did ISTJ. And I always think that they do a good job when they do that. So yeah, I liked NCT Dream.
Yeah, I think their performance was strong. Definitely. Another one that I liked was Gravity. They did Groovy, which I was a huge fan of. My only thing to say about Gravity's performance really is that I almost feel like they should have swapped this performance and outfit and everything for the one that they did on New Year's. Like, I feel like the Groovy song, the whole like vibe of the dance party, you know, they had a cool remix for it and everything. Like, it really was, seemed like it could have been a New Year's Eve party vibes so easily.
That's true.
And for the New Year's Eve one, you know, I'm jumping ahead a little bit, but like they perform Megaphone for that one, which you might not think is very good for Christmas, but like I just feel like the other one would have been so good for New Year's that I kind of maybe would have liked to see them switched. But I think that they did a really good job. Like the party vibes were absolutely there. And that's like kind of all they did. It was pretty simple, but it worked.
Yeah, I liked Gravity's performance too. And I think they added some like jingly sounds,
Yeah,
right?
they did.
Yeah, so
But it
I
was
thought,
subtle.
yeah, I thought it worked well. And, you know, I was excited to see Gravity at these, like,
Yeah.
at the Gayos. Like, that was pretty cool. Okay, well, another one that I liked was From Us Nines. They did Attitude, and they literally did this for me, okay? Like, the violins, the Paso Doble vibes, excellent. I'm saying they literally, like, they knew. Like, I don't know how they knew that that would work for that song. Somebody was like, you know what, this song would, like, you know what would fit well with this song? These vibes. I don't know how they figured that out, but it worked, and I enjoyed it.
I enjoyed it, like, to a normal amount.
Okay.
No, like, I'm not saying you enjoyed it too much. I'm saying, like, I also didn't think it was bad, but I just am not a fan of that song, really, so I couldn't, like, have an extra good reaction to it. But, like, yeah, I mean, they did a good job. I definitely thought it was interesting, the Paso Doble inspiration that they had going.
Yeah.
I would have liked the boys' performance, but I must say, the camera work was so absolute garbage that it's hard to even say, like, oh yeah, the boys, like, theirs was good, because it wasn't. Like, you know, they were doing some cool stuff, some ambitious stuff at the beginning with the briefcases and stuff, and it was pretty, I was like, I would be scared to do this sort of prop choreography for something like this, but, you know, they deliver with the prop choreography most of the time, if not always. So, like, that was cool and everything, but this is the one where the camera is literally, like, pointing at actually nothing for, like, multiple seconds straight. And it seems like it's a really important part that they should have been getting what was happening with the briefcase. They don't. So it's really, really bad, which makes it overall hard to say, like, that I liked the boys' performance from this, you know, event, but it probably would have been good. Really good.
It's a shame, really.
Yeah. And, like, the parts, like, the key people parts in, like, the choreography for the actual song, like, also just
is
terribly
that the one
shot.
where they, like, totally didn't even show Sanu's part?
I think so. I think they're, like, doing the, like, far, far, far away zoom. Like, let's get as far away from this shot as we possibly can. That's always fun. When you're like, ooh, I can't wait for this next part, and then they're zooming you to, like, the back of the stadium. That's great. So, yeah. There's that.
Okay, well, like, the last one that I would say is, like, I enjoyed it. I did. Boy Next Door. I thought they've been doing a solid job throughout these, you know, festivals and award show performances. And I liked how they switched their one and only lyrics to Christmas themed lyrics. I was like, okay, you know what? Sure, why not? Like, it's fun, and it always seems like they're having fun when they're performing, so it just makes me enjoy their performances more, and I remember them more.
That's nice.
Yeah.
The last one that I'd like to talk about is Shiny. And I know you're like, wait, you like Shiny performances? But, like, they're just so good at performing that even though I'm not, like, always listening to Shiny's music, their performances are really good. And on top of that, they, like, really delivered bringing in the older classics that they had. And, you know, the whole Shiny's back thing, and, like, performing it to, like, the nth degree to just really show everybody, like, you know, we have been around for how long, but, like, we'll give you this old classic and we'll give you a brand new one of our songs, and we can perform both of them, like, you know, with so much power and so much, like, they get the crowd so, like,
the crowd was really into that.
Yeah. So I think that even without me, like, loving Shiny songs, and don't get me wrong, I'm not saying I'm a Shiny hater or something, but without me even being like, oh my god, I love this song, I still think that their performance was one of the best. Because they're just, you know, they're performing like it's a concert.
So true. I wouldn't consider these last ones that I want to just mention, like, my top or, like, favorite, but I definitely remember them, okay? Zikers. I'm going to talk about Zikers a little bit. They brought a party to this GAYO. There was like so much going on, but you know what? I kind of enjoyed it. Like, I liked their energy. I really don't like, no offense, that song of theirs. But yeah, I thought the energy was there. And the T by T little match boy, that was so funny. I had to just bring it up. Like the cape thing was a shame.
Ooh, yeah.
But I'm glad that they all decided to ditch them by the end. I'm like, okay, like your capes aren't working out. You need to just kind of signal to each other, like, let's just get them off. And they did end up doing that. And you could tell, like, seemed like they were kind of like laughing at themselves by the end of it. But you know, they worked with it, and that's good. And then I liked ZB1's couple cover. I thought that was enjoyable.
I think, like you were saying about Zikers, the performance aspect is number one most important for these sorts of shows.
Yeah.
So like if you are going to like maybe perform a slightly less known song just for even the general public, like maybe it's your most popular song but your group is so small or whatever, if you come out there and you perform it, that is going to do leagues more for you than if you go out there and you perform a song that everybody knows and has heard of. Like maybe you do a cover song that everyone knows and has heard of, but it's more of like a music show vibes level.
Yeah.
Like perform, and it gets people to notice. It really does.
Yeah.
And also, I will say, I'm not going to name names, but I do think that there was maybe one or two instances of some people disrespecting the holiday. I wasn't the biggest fan of that, but I was, you know, at least trying to mentally prepare myself that that could happen, and it did. It's just a light disrespect, you know, nothing too harsh, but
Okay. All right. How about the MBC GAYO DAECHUKJAE? This is, like we said, the New Year's Eve festival. And they had a theme as well. This year's theme was Dreamy Moments. So usually the MBC GAYO is the one that has a lot of collabs and covers, but then they also have like trot, hip hop, and just other non-K-pop performances. And this one was definitely better quality because it is at a smaller venue, and so it was like more clear visually and auditorially, but there was definitely some crazy camera work happening during some performances.
There was.
Yeah. And then like I'd say the second half after the new year, like that was outside, so the quality dropped significantly. Like I thought the stage design was cool, but we started to get too many audience shots and like too many moments that weren't captured well. So, yeah.
So why don't you just jump right in and give us one of your performances you want to talk about? Favorite, least favorite, whatever. No, we're not talking about our least favorite performances today. That would be rude.
Okay. I will talk about Hives.
Okay.
I really enjoyed their performances at this one. I think it's one of my favorites among the shows this year. They did Baddie Kitsch and I Am, and they were doing like rock remixes that I actually enjoyed. Like I said before, I don't think that the remixed versions were too much this year from anyone. I thought that Ray's hair was really pretty like that, and I enjoyed like the styling overall. Like I thought that their outfits and hair looked nice, and I thought that the set and stage design looked nice as well. Like it was overall very cohesive, and so I liked it.
I think performance and styling wise, Ive has been consistently delivering throughout these shows.
Mm-hmm.
I am going to talk about ZB1 Fry's Dream.
Okay.
Because this one to me, I don't know whose song this is.
Me neither.
I've got no clue. But this one is just so different, but like they delivered. Like, but it's so...
It was fun.
It was fun. Like, I liked it. It was just like, you know what? I'm kind of confused as to why ZB1 is out here like some sort of little like country band. But it was fun to see all the different people that could play an instrument. And they're out
Yeah.
there and they're playing the instrument. And obviously, I love any time that they let Zhang Hao play his violin. It delivers. I love that part. And it was just like, it was a vibe. I'm like, okay, yeah, sure. I'll bounce along to Fry's dream. So I liked to see that.
It felt very like, children's TV show set.
Yes,
but
definitely.
in a good, fun way.
Yeah. It was like, okay, sure. This is what we're doing. If you want to, I guess we will.
Yeah. Okay, what else did you like?
Well, I did like Gravity Megaphone. But so now to get a little more into it, why I feel like maybe this one could have been switched with the other one. Megaphone, definitely less Christmassy, but they were wearing white furry outfits because they were doing like a wolf concept, and the whole background, they had red. So like it was red and white. And I feel like their groovy performance, it was like silver and black. So I'm just saying.
Yeah.
But I think they did a good job. I think they delivered. Once again, it was just Gravity Megaphone. Like it wasn't something super.
Just Gravity Megaphone.
No. No, but like a lot of the other people get to perform a whole bunch of different songs, like have big, like elaborate, like intro things or dance breakdowns. They do like a little something with theirs, but they don't get like that big of a time slot, I feel like. Like on both of these shows, they had pretty standard of a time slot, but it's like for the time that they were given, they did a good job.
Yeah. Well, another one that I really liked is Itzy's, because I love that they finally did Bet on Me, and they did the whole thing too, which is great, and I wasn't expecting them to do the whole song, but I'm just missing Leah. It was like pretty noticeable how the songs sounded different, where they filled their parts, not in like a, oh man, like this is so bad kind of way, but I'm just saying, like, we always like when the full group gets to perform.
Yeah. I like even when it was parts that I didn't necessarily remember Leah saying, then after the fact I was like, was that part at that spot? Like, was that Leah's part? And it's like, yeah, that's Leah's part. I'm like, okay, yeah, because you can tell like it's just different. It's not the same vibe, but they did do really good. I was really surprised about Bet on Me, and they were doing some acrobatics in theirs too. Some cartwheels, back bend. Yeah. So that was pretty crazy. I liked to see them given a little spice in that capacity. What I didn't really like was their outfits being so normal. Like their outfits, they could have worn those outfits on any normal stage. They didn't look like special New Year's party outfits. So that disappointed me because I love to see the outfits that people come out with. So and like they were wearing all black pretty much, and all the backup dancers were wearing all black. So sometimes it was kind of like just a whole bunch of people wearing black,
Yeah.
So yeah, but their performance I really enjoyed.
Okay. I will say another one that I enjoyed now, and that is, can anybody guess?
Oh gosh. NCT Dream? I don't know.
Yes, NCT Dream. Of course, big surprise. I enjoyed NCT Dream's performance. They did Like We Just Met, okay? How am I not going to enjoy that? Like, it was great. I love the part at the end when they all stood with the audience behind them. Like, that's, like, I always like when they kind of break the fourth wall and they show the audience, which I, like, they did a lot at that show. So that was cool. And once again, ISTJ, always fun, brings the energy back up a little bit.
It definitely really was. You know who else was bringing the energy up?
Who?
Shiny.
Oh, yeah.
Shiny, so they did Juice and Hard for this one, and I don't really know Juice at all. Like, I wasn't super hyped for that. I hate that I say that all the time. Super hyped. I just would like everyone to know that I really hate that I use that phrase.
It doesn't bother me.
Well, I feel like I could come up with something better than just saying that all the time. But okay. But no, after that, when they did Hard, the remixed version of it, I kind of was,
yeah,
I was like,
that.
you know what? I'm kind of really vibing with this. So I was shocked that there was like a remix version that I was actually like, okay. Yeah, like it was not even that it was, I can manage, the remix, but I was like, oh, I like this. So they were bringing the energy up for the whole thing, but also the remixed element, I was actually like, I was here for.
Okay.
Any more you had to talk about?
Oh, yes. I would like to highlight a few other performances that might be surprising, but I will say some non-surprising ones first. I enjoyed day 6 because I thought it was very anime.
Ah, it was.
Yeah. ATs, I think that they always are bringing a lot of energy to their performances, so that's cool. But I thought they were going to do both bouncy and crazy form, but they only did crazy form, so I was just kind of like, I thought you literally had like a chili pepper in the graphics, so I expected it to go to bouncy, but it's fine.
Can I say that ATEEZ' intro, I was actually like, you know what? This is like kind of working. Like, I felt like it was pretty different. And like, honestly, you might think it's a little random, like to have a little like a cinematic moment almost. But I was like, you know what? This translates. It's working. The spaceship like speed was translating. So I thought that was a cool little intro that they had.
It felt very much like their Kingdom performance that I really enjoyed. Like, it was reminding me of that in a way. So yeah, I thought it was good, and I enjoyed, you know, even the ballads from 2 a.m. But I will say, this is the part that is probably surprising. Generally, like, you know, the random ones that aren't K-pop, or like the random collabs that we get, I usually don't really find a lot of ones that I'm like, okay, that was enjoyable. But I think that they were overall better than many of them in the past. There have been ones in the past that like were good, and I was like, okay, you know what, if we're taking a break from K-pop for a minute in this show, it's kind of random, but okay, sure. But these ones I thought were better. Like, I enjoyed even the Youngji Yujin collab, and I enjoyed I don't know what genre they are, Youngtak and Jong Minho's performances. You know,
the two older gentlemen.
Yes, the two older gentlemen. Like, I don't really think they're trot, but maybe, I don't know.
It
I don't know
definitely
their
didn't seem
genre.
trot in the way that past years trot performances have been.
Yeah.
But like, at the same time, where was the trot? You know,
right? Like, they usually have like half the show being trot.
Yeah.
That like didn't happen at all this year, but you know, I enjoyed their performances. I think that they did a good job.
I think both of them delivered, and they both had like some choreography elements and stuff. I was surprised.
Yeah, so props to them. I enjoyed your performances. And I don't really have any other ones that I remember to talk about, but like the ending, like closing song, really sad vibe wise, just putting that out there.
Oh my god, I completely forgot about that. But yeah, that was a downer.
Yeah.
That was so different. I feel like that's the show that they usually end with Amor Fati, and it's like a party. But
yeah.
that was something else. Made me feel like the new year was going to be depressing.
Oh, and then also, though, you like were expecting to see more dragon headbands, which was kind of disappointing because almost no one had them on.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. I'm like, where's the representation for Year of the Dragon? Hello, every other year they have the tigers, the bunnies, everything. So that was pretty disappointing.
Yeah.
I will say that while ENHYPEN didn't do like, they did Sweet Venom and then they did Orange Blossom, is that what it's called? Which is one I don't really know very well. They didn't do like Bite Me, which is my favorite one from this. I still appreciated their performance, and like, I liked their outfits. But theirs was a little bit in that like weird zone where they were in the outside place. Yeah. But yeah, I guess that's all I'd really have to touch on there, I guess.
Okay, then we're on to our last show, which is the Golden Disc Awards. So I think that generally these awards have pretty good performances overall. And this year specifically, I think that they had pretty good performances, especially compared to, you know, some of the ones we've been seeing in terms of how they were, like, you know, elevated a little bit more. Like, people were were doing a little bit larger scale of performances at this show, and it was another large venue, which also kind of apparently means we're going to get poor graphic quality.
Yeah.
And the audio was very quiet as well. But there were good live vocals at this show.
There were.
But they were kind of getting overpowered by backing track in a lot of it. But there definitely still were live performances coming through. So yeah.
And also, yeah, like graphics wise, like visually, it just bothered me so much how dark everything was.
Yeah.
Like the stages were just so dark. Like it worked okay for some of the people's performances, but then some people seemed like they should have had more light on them. Like everyone's skin looked gray, like they were in shadow, and it was pretty,
it was very flat.
Yeah, it was pretty infuriating. But but I do think, yeah, like you were saying, the like ways in which people made like grand performances were working well here. Sometimes, like maybe it was the mamas or something, sometimes people, it's like they want to do a big grand thing, and I'm like, I can't see anything. Like I get that you like wanted to do this big thing where you're like can see this whole stage and but like it's too either convoluted, or it's too far away, or it's too many people at once, that you end up just like it doesn't translate. But I think what these performances did was working.
I'm going to start with Le Seraphim.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah. Overall, I really enjoyed their performance, and it's definitely memorable. It's one of my favorite ones from, the award shows this year. So they did Unforgiven, which I hate to say it, but there are still a lot of parts of the choreography and song as it normally is that I really dislike. Sorry. And like the rock mix was a lot for the song, but it hyped it up more, and the vocals were great. The energy was there. It felt like they were performing at a concert, and they did Fire in the Belly. I'm so glad that they performed that one because I really love that song. And it seemed like, to me, it was a concert for like a group that's been around for a long time, not like less than 2 years. Like I thought everyone was carrying their weight. I thought that their styling was cool. Like it was very rock influenced, and they had that YB feature. I thought it worked perfectly. I thought that person's voice that was singing fit the song so well, and I really enjoyed it.
Yeah. When I first started seeing this one, like when they were starting it up and it's Unforgiven but rock remix, I was really lost. I was like, I'm sorry, I don't get this at all. I was like, I like your outfits. I like the pirate influence that they've got going on. It was seeming like this could work if not for all of the rock. But once they finished Unforgiven and they were doing the other stuff, I was really thinking that they were doing a good job. Like, I really loved the energy. And yeah, that man with them, like, it seemed seamless. Sometimes when they'll have a random, like, person coming in as part of the collab, it's like now it's their turn. And it seems like a little bit more disjointed. But I feel like theirs seemed really just like that is a total, like, way that it could be. And yeah, they were definitely delivering, like, with the energy, with the dance, with the singing. I personally didn't really like Unforgiven as a rock song, but they could do like a different song. Like they could make a song that sounds more like a rock song, and they would kill it. Like they would do such a good job. One of the groups that I think, so Le Seraphim, I feel like it worked with the dim lighting pretty well because of the rock vibes. But then another one that I feel like actually like the dimness worked to their advantage was Enhypen. And they actually did do Bite Me, which I don't think that they had really done in any of the other things so far. But they didn't have the other dancers, which I felt like was really stupid because I feel like they only did that because people were getting mad at them. But I don't know, maybe not. some people might say it was too difficult to have the dancers on the stage because of the way it was doing, but then they have other dancers for other parts. So I did think it was kind of dumb that there were no dancers, but it was a remixed version. I didn't mind the remix, and I think they did a good job with their dance break. And yeah, I mean, then they do Sweet Venom as well. I felt like it was a nice, like, little elevated version of their songs, and the energy was there, and they did good.
Yeah, I think that they did good. I like that they did Fate. Like, it wasn't one of my favorite performances, but I did overall enjoy ENHYPEN's performance here compared to their performances at the other festivals and award shows. Like, I enjoyed their dance breaks as well. Like, I thought that there was good music for that. I kind of generally find the performance aspect of Sweet Venom boring, unfortunately, but I do like that they did Bite Me and Fate. But I would have liked to see a grander scale for Bite Me. Like, if they had the dancers like they have in the original choreography, and if they did it, like, you know, they could have played into the whole vampire concept so much more for an award show and done something really cool.
True.
But they didn't really do that. So I was, you know, I thought it was good. It's just, I thought they could have taken it in a different direction.
Yeah, it was a little, I shouldn't say basic, but it was a little, like, you know, classic. Like, they didn't like they didn't even add like an extra theme of any kind.
Okay, another one that I really liked was, and you're probably going to see this coming from me, and that's ZB1. I loved the beginning part with Matthew and Hanbin. That's very much an aesthetic that I enjoy. I like the blindfold aspect, and I have, like, you know, I like when they include cloth or some sort of extra little pieces in choreography. I always find that interesting. Here's the thing, and I said it was going to come back up. So hopefully you paid attention, and hopefully if you didn't know the performance, you paused this podcast episode, watched it, and now you're back. Because it reminded me of AB6IX's Melon performance from 2019 with the blindfolds, and also they had like an ice or wintry theme going on. But this Zero Base 1 performance was like the light version of that. So two performances that I really enjoy, okay? I like them both. I thought this one was very pretty, and I just, like I said, I like that dance style and that, like, clothing style and the colors. So I thought it was great. I didn't even honestly notice that Hanbin's blindfold slipped. Like, I really honestly, like, I forgot he had one on too. And I thought it was just like a fancy collar by the end of that dance part. And once again, the mixes of In Bloom that they were using were really good. Like, I thought this one was really pretty. And they also performed Our Season, which, of course, I love that song. So I was glad that they performed it. But I will say, now that we're on our last show that we're talking about today, I can't believe that they didn't do Melting Point once.
Yeah, I know, especially with, like, all of this, everything being around the holiday time, you know? Yeah. And to think of how many other songs that they did, you know?
Yeah.
Like, they did so many different things. It's not like they just did the same thing at everything. But yeah, to not do Melting Point was pretty surprising.
Yeah.
I enjoyed the overall flow that they had going from the dancing at the intro and then In Bloom and then Our Season. And, like, I really liked that they did Our Season one time. Like, I think it worked nicely. It wasn't too boring, you know, like you might think like, oh, but they had choreography for it and stuff. So I liked that. And I find it interesting that they did In Bloom so much rather than Crush.
Yeah.
But I'm fine with that. Another one that I really liked was Busak Soon. Once again, were delivering here at this award show, but they had an extra spicy take of cheerleading. So that was
Yeah.
interesting. That was fun.
It was just like the cheer up drama. Like literally I was just watching a drama.
I haven't seen the drama, but that doesn't really matter, you know? Like, it was still good without even having a reference point. I just thought it was like, you know, who has a more energy, or who could keep up with Boo Sok-soon energy? Cheerleaders. So yeah, it was like very standout different, but in a very cohesive way, you know? It really went together.
Mm-hmm. I want to talk about that one a bit too, if you don't mind, because it was definitely one of my favorites out of all the shows. Once again, it was really standout, and whenever I get any sort of drama vibes, I usually enjoy it more than average. So yeah, I thought it was super fun. The whole featuring Dino thing was definitely a surprise.
Unexpected.
But you know, the Pichorin thing, like that was like, there's so many layers to that I feel like it's just so iconic to be doing that at an award show. That you know, that's the Boo Sok-soon vibe though, and they were delivering. And just, I love the vibes and the way that they changed the song to have more of like that cheer vibe. It was just really good. And also, while we're here, I will just say that 17's performance as a group was another one of my favorites. Thought it was very powerful, and I thought S-Coop's in the audience, you know, that was great. And I love that they did Ima, because I love that song.
17, well, so Boo Sok-soon, like, it kind of seems like they were made for like award shows and performance type things like that. Like, their sound is so fitting for it, and I feel like it's such like a can please any audience sort of vibe.
Yeah.
So yeah, really fitting for that. And then yeah, 17 seemed like they were like performing so hard that they were going to die. Like, they were literally like going and going and going and going and going, and it was just like, are they okay? Like, are they gonna get through this? Which they do world concerts, so you know, surely they can, but still, it was like intense. Like, it was like big performance energy. Did you have any final ones to talk about?
Yeah, I'll just talk about two more. I'll talk about Ives, because I thought that the mermaid concept was pretty, and I really did like their styling. It was like very, you know, underwater goddess sort of styling, and I thought it worked really nicely for the concept of their performance. And also, like, when I saw the like behind photos, I guess you could call them, of them in their outfits, like, you could really see the details on them, and I think that they're just really pretty. And so yeah, I thought like the water drop sounds at the beginning of their performance were cool, but the start with Baddie seemed so unfitting and jarring. I was like, didn't expect this, but okay. But holy moly, that fit perfectly. I was like, very unexpected for them to be doing this song, because I don't think that they did anything else with that song ever. But I was like, sure, okay, this is, I guess, the song that you needed to be doing if you were going to do the mermaid concept. So yeah, I thought it was good. And then the last kind of like moment that I want to talk about was one from the Golden Stage Spectrum with a capital K. And I'm going to be talking about Boy Next Door, surprisingly. I thought that their Shutdown cover, it was like okay. Like, I wasn't like, oh yes, I love this, because I'm not even really like that with that song. But I like how they made the rap parts for themselves, although it was kind of unexpected and like jarring a little bit. I was like, oh, the song's different. But I thought that the Darth Vader part was honestly very impactful. Like,
really?
I remember it. I'm like, okay, that was pretty cool.
Maybe this is being too judgmental, but I actually was kind of bothered by the Darth Vader part, because he puts his hood up and he looks like Emperor Palpatine with his hood on, not like Darth Vader. Which, I mean, sure, Anakin has a hood sometimes. Like, I guess maybe Darth Vader has a hood sometimes. But, like, Darth Vader, I feel like, is not, like, what you would originally think of when you see, like, a hooded figure like that in Star Wars. So I was like, he's like Darth Vader, and he's got, like, this big black hood. And I'm like, that's Emperor Palpatine, but okay.
Okay, so technically, you know, whatever. But the impact was still there for me the first time.
Okay.
Yeah. And, like, you know, they're a new group, and I was respecting them for the fact that, like, they were making, I'm assuming they made those raps because I think that Boy Next Door is, like, involved a lot with their music, and knowing that they're coming from, like, Zico's company, I was getting, like, those vibes, and it just seemed like more like they were doing something that was personalized to them.
Yeah, that's nice. I'd just say, last thing, going back to IVE, you talked about how pretty their outfits were, and I'd just say that was the one stage of this thing that I felt like the lighting was the absolute worst for. Like it hindered their thing the most, because, yeah, I feel like their outfits would have been really pretty, but, like, you can't see them very well at all in the darkness. It's like someone put a gray filter over the entire picture. It's so annoying. But, I mean, still, it was better than whatever the first one was that we watched, SBS. Like, so that was a lot of performances, and we did talk about some of the same groups multiple times, but, like, those are the groups that we were extra interested in. So I hope that it was somewhat interesting to hear us recap all of those. There's a lot at the end of the year and start of the new year.
Yeah. If you want to share your favorite performances with us, or just any thoughts on any of the performances that you had, you can leave us a comment on YouTube. And if you enjoyed hearing our thoughts, you can like the video, and remember to subscribe to the BlushCat channel and turn on notifications.
Also, don't forget to follow us on Spotify if you prefer listening to podcasts there.
Right. Well, thank you for listening.
Thank you so much. Good luck in the new year.
This has been Untone.
And me. Bye.
Meow, 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 meow.